Good Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Megan McPherson. Happening today, an Oakdale man will face a judge in connection to disturbing charges of criminal sexual conduct with a 14-year-old girl. Audrey Russo joins us now with the details.
Andrew Olson is due before a judge today, charged with child solicitation and possession of child sex abuse material. Now, both he and his wife, Angeline, have already had their initial court appearances stemming from the discovery last week of a 14-year-old girl hiding in a box in their apartment. Court documents say police came to this apartment complex in Oakdale following a tip from the teen girl's father that she may be hiding there. Now, Angeline told police that she hadn't seen the teen, but early the next morning, a neighbor tells Kare that she spotted Angeline and the girl partially dressed outside. That neighbor you see on your screen called police, and we received this video of their arrest once police returned and found the girl.
They hid her in a U-Haul box when the police came. Took them an hour or so to find her.
Just disgusting that people would do that to children.
Now, neighbors say the couple had their own teenage children taken away earlier this year by Child Protective Services. Andrew's attorney tells us his client is looking forward to clearing his name in court. Back to you.
The Minneapolis Police Department is officially kicking off Operation Safe Summer with their new interim police chief. It's designed to get ahead of crime that ticks up when the temperature does, bringing together local and federal authorities, targeting repeat violent offenders and getting illegal guns off the streets. MPD says the strategy continues to produce results. Year-over-year numbers show gunshot wound victims in Minneapolis are down 12%, while carjackings have dropped 15%. And this year's operation also comes with new leadership at MPD. Interim Chief Bill Peterson, who has played a major role in similar operations for years, received a round of applause from officers at Wednesday's kickoff before stressing the importance of proactive enforcement.
Every firearm recovered, every violent offender arrested, and every crime prevented makes a difference.
And MPD says the operation comes at a critical time with several major events expected to draw large crowds to the city this summer, including Pride, Taste of Minnesota, the Aquatennial, and the U.S. Special Olympics. We have all new video into the newsroom this morning from a car fire on I-35W southbound in Minneapolis overnight. Take a look at this video. Wow, it started just after midnight. This is near East 28th Street on the exit ramp. The car had stalled there for a few minutes before it caught fire. Everyone appeared to be out of the vehicle at that time. There was a large response closing the ramp, but it has since reopened. This morning, an update on the Birch Bay fire burning just north of Ely. The U.S. Forest Service says crews have it about 10% contained. The fire started Monday afternoon in the Superior National Forest and has burned about 35 acres. Officials are still working to determine the cause. New this morning, President Trump says a deal with Iran could happen this weekend. It comes as House lawmakers approve a largely symbolic resolution to end the war with Iran unless Congress authorizes military action. Alice Barr is in Washington with details.
Hi there. The push for a peace deal with Iran may have gotten a boost after the U.S. State Department announced a new ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon. Iran has said an end to the fighting in Lebanon was central to any broader agreement. This morning, dramatic new images of the Iranian strike on an international airport in U.S. ally Kuwait that killed one person and highlighted the fragile state of the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. That after the U.S. military said it shot down Iranian drones near the Strait of Hormuz and attacked a military installation on an island. Despite the rising tensions, President Trump says a peace deal could come soon.
If it happens, and it might not happen, who knows? But if it happens, it could happen like over the weekend.
Iran's top diplomat said no progress had been made in negotiations, but that communication with the U.S. was not cut off after Iranian state media reported Tehran would suspend talks over Israel's growing attacks against Iran-backed militants in Lebanon. Now, Lebanon and Israel agreeing to a new ceasefire, according to a joint statement with the U.S. State Department following negotiations in Washington. While on Capitol Hill, the House passed a resolution directing President Trump to stop the war unless Congress gives its approval. 4 Republicans joined all Democrats in the vote that, while symbolic, offered a rare rebuke.
Congress alone declares war. That's something that we have to be, certainly protective of.
Elsewhere in Washington, President Trump touting renovations for the America 250 celebrations, from restoring the iconic reflecting pool outside the Lincoln Memorial.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be American flag blue.
To the makeshift UFC arena over the White House South Lawn for a match on the president's birthday, June 14th, to plans for a massive arch up for discussion at a planning commission today, amid complaints it will block views of Arlington National Cemetery. And new overnight, President Trump said at a private event that he'll nominate his acting Attorney General Todd Blanche for the permanent job as the nation's top prosecutor. A White House aide posted a video of the president's announcement. Blanche was once President Trump's personal lawyer and has launched high-profile investigations of his political enemies. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
This morning, phase 1 of the PWHL expansion is complete, with the 8 existing teams protecting 3 of its players. The Frost is protecting Taylor Heisey, Kelly Panek, and Maddie Rooney. Phase 2 of the process begins tomorrow at 11 a.m. During that time, the 4 expansion teams in Detroit, Hamilton, Las Vegas, and San Jose will add 5 players to its roster from the remaining pool of eligible players. That signing period will last until Monday at noon. It's a new era in the front office for the Vikings, the team officially introducing their new general manager, Nolan Teasley. Teasley joins the team after spending his career with the Seahawks, where he started as an intern and worked his way up to assistant general manager. Vikings owner and president Mark Wilf made the introductions yesterday and said Teasley is just what they were hoping for in their new GM, with his clear vision of team building along with his resume in both scouting and analytics.
Yeah. There's an element of by example, but really at its foundation, at its core, is I want to put people in position to do what they do best and then allow them to do it. And we want to put them in those positions as often as possible.
And of course, Teasley joins the team after having a pretty huge hand in building the Seahawks' Super Bowl winning roster, which includes former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold. This morning, we're learning more about the company that owns the bus that crashed into a Hamlin University building on Tuesday. Data from the Department of Public Safety shows Pride Transportation Services has failed more than 50% of its inspections between 2023 and 2025. Its highest failure rate was in 2023, when the company failed 91% of inspections. 3 students from Higher Ground Academy were hurt in this crash. The academy's executive director spoke with us about the company, saying they don't use buses that have failed inspection.
It's unfortunate and it is sad. Once we get the report, we are going to reflect, and if there are things that we need to change going into next year, we will.
St. Paul police say the cause of this crash is still being investigated. Officers reported the driver didn't show any signs of intoxication or impairment. Right now, both Lake Nokomis beaches in Minneapolis are under a blue-green algae advisory. The advisory says levels of the algae are above what's considered safe for swimming. They say our recent warm weather and sunny skies have led to warmer water temperatures, which are ideal conditions for blue-green algae to grow. Kids and pets should be kept out of the water. This morning, more fallout as other Medicaid providers in Minnesota say they're in limbo while the state re-examines the programs to crack down on fraud. At the end of last week, only about 1,000 Medicaid providers had reportedly completed a revalidation process by a deadline set by the Trump administration in order to combat fraud. That leaves more than 4,000 others that could be pending termination. But many of them, including Dream Life Destiny, say the Minnesota Department of Human Services has offered little guidance on how to correct paperwork or other issues that appear to be at issue.
We have one document we filled out just the other day 3 times in a row, and every time we filled it out, it disappeared. It wasn't even online. So the systems they have in place aren't even stable. So to bring in a whole set of new people who are minimally trained or untrained to go through that system and try and understand it and then implement it in a few short months for thousands of people is almost impossible.
Dream Life Destiny tells our Ken Erdahl that they have 30 employees and more than 40 clients, and if the funding doesn't come in the next 2 weeks, they likely won't make it beyond the month. This morning, the Minneapolis Park Board is moving forward with a plan to close the Minnehaha Dog Park. The board's planning committee passed a resolution that would decommission the off-leash dog park, or dog area rather, by the end of 2026. The board says the 6-acre park is on a sacred native site for the Dakota people.
I know that it is not an easy thing to give up amenities like this, especially when they've become such a major part of our life. I've had a lot of communications with people from our Dakota community, from other indigenous communities, and heard firsthand their stories and the harms that it brings.
The area will still be open to visitors, but not as an off-leash recreation area. The board is also looking at new locations for an off-leash park. Stick with us. More news and weather is coming up after the break.